What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Jump Ball Central. Today we are looking at 6 super expensive purchases that NBA players bought. At number 6, J.R. Smith brought a private jeweler. J.R. Smith is a goofball, but one of the easy-to-love kind. Even President Obama joked about his shirtless celebration of the first NBA championship that they won. J.R. is also a respectful shooting guard, a streaky scorer, who, when he's on, he can lift his team with his three-point shooting. When he's not riding on his motorized scooter inviting fans to take a bike ride with him, J.R. Smith also likes to splash cash. Back with the Knicks, he was reported to own a jewelry company close to $50,000. It was only because the issue went public that the world learned about his ugly black Jesus piece. Jesus' face was surprisingly similar to that of J.R. himself. It was also worth $25,000. At number 5, Joe Johnson, and he bought a room for his sneakers. Joe Johnson one-ups Jarrett Jack in the sneakerhead department. He signed a 6-year, $119 million contract after making the All-NBA third team, which is a sign of the Hawks' desperation to keep talented players more than a sign of his talent. He obviously never lived up to that huge deal, which doesn't mean he wasn't a good NBA player. Apart from having a collection comparable to Jack's, Johnson really splurged on his sneaker closet. Only JJ can enter, as it has a fingerprint security system. The room is set to keep special temperature, good for preservation of the shoe's materials. It also has a bed if Johnson wants to take a nap there, which he sometimes does. At number 4, Al Jefferson bought a giant bed. Pardon the quality of this image, but that is a huge basketball player in an absolutely huge bed. Al Jefferson is a big dude. At 6'10", it seems obvious why he's playing center in the NBA. For a period of time, he was one of the best centers in the league, and he was well compensated for his exceptional play. Last season was actually his first since 2005 to 2006, in which he scored under 12 points and grabbed under 6 rebounds per game. In order to rest his big frame, Al Jefferson ordered a custom-made big bed. What's dumb about the purchase, you say? Well, first of all, the bed cost him $23,000. Why was it so expensive? Because it's 10 by 12 feet. Is he organizing sleepovers for the whole team? At number 3, Marquis Daniels and personalized jewelry. Who wouldn't want to see themselves decorated in diamonds? I mean, literally being made of diamonds. Nobody? Well, Marquis Daniels is not nobody. He was a great player to root for who arrived in the league undrafted and unwanted, but managed to establish himself as one of the best bench players for years. He wasn't a particularly big earner, but made enough to afford a 3D diamond studded likeness of his head, which was hanging on a chain from his actual one. Not a smart move. That level of vanity is pretty ridiculous, and considering he didn't have an illustrious career, he should have put that money to better use for his retirement. At number 2, Scotty Pippen bought a private jet. Scotty Pippen is one of the stingiest athletes ever. Because of his fear of financial insecurity, Pippen signed a long-term contract with the Bulls and was for a long time one of the most underpaid players in the league. Once he got the chance, Pippen decided to earn as much as possible on the Rockets and later on the Blazers. When he eventually got his money, Pippen designed to spend some of it in the most ridiculous ways. The most significant was splurging on a $3.4 million private jet, but he didn't just take into account the cost of running the aircraft, let alone maintaining it and storing it. In consequence, his very own aircraft never left the ground. Talk about a ridiculous purchase. And finally, at number 1, Robert Swift and all the illegal things.
Follow-away jumper good for Bobby Swift.
A former Sonic finally leaves his foreclosed home, but leaves behind a disturbing mess.
The center who was picked by the Seattle Supersonics ahead of Chris Humphries, Tony Allen, or Trevor Ariza. The fact that these players are mentioned as the ones passed on by the Sonics shows how big of a bust Swift really was. He played in 97 games during his 5 seasons on the Sonics/Thunder. There was more to his on-court issues than his injuries. Swift had bad mental health issues, which played into his substance abuse. He wasn't the highest paid guy on the team, but he could afford supporting a group of people that can be described lightly as, quote, the wrong crowd. After Swift went bankrupt, the foreclosed house he left behind was filled with beer bottles, firearms, and ammunition. This was in 2013. In 2014, he was arrested for unlawful possession of a firearm. In 2015, he was arrested for an attempted home invasion. Swift was under the influence during the incident. This is more tragic than it is ridiculous. Alright guys, well thank you so much for watching this video of Jump Ball Central. If you enjoyed, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and comment down below which one's the most ridiculous.